People in newer relationships, like less than 5 years, tend to make 3 really common mistakes that can cause unnecessary conflict in your relationship. And we're going to talk about that today. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I help people take functional relationships and make them exceptional through excellent communication. So there is some things that change over time after you've been with someone for a long time. I talk to clients who have newer relationships, and they have different mentalities than people who are in long-time relationships. Like, I've been married for 27 years, and I'm surrounded by a lot of strong, long marriages. And we think about a few things differently, which brings down the conflict in our relationships. And I want to give you a shortcut if you're in a new relationship, and if you're in a long relationship and you don't operate from these mindsets, you can pick them up right now. Because here's the thing: I think that we are influenced by the couples we surround ourselves with. Like, it's no mistake that I have a strong marriage of a very long time, and the people around me reflect that. That's it. Everything is kind of supporting our relationships. And if somebody is surrounded by really tumultuous relationships, it's going to have an effect on theirs. You can, without going and getting a brand new friend group, you can take on the mindsets of the people I hang out with and bring them into a newer relationship right now. So let's talk about what those are. The first one is that in the beginning of a relationship, everything feels important and like it's a big deal. Like, here's an example. When Noel and I were married, the first 3 years, our biggest fight, and we fought about it all the time, was division of labor. Who does what around the house? Who does, dishes, meals, all that kind of stuff? Who's in charge of outside? We had this coordination that we were trying to figure out. And it all felt important. It all felt like we had to have a conversation about it. Like, we have to work this out. We have to figure this out. And it caused a lot of fights. As you get older, you start to realize that you have to pick your battles and decide, as they say, which hill to die on. What's important here? What is worth creating turmoil in our relationship to figure out? And a lot of things are not worth it. A lot of things do not need to be a discussion. And it isn't necessarily that it's because we figured it out. It's more that you realize that the health of the relationship is important. And you start to think in terms of a team instead of like a 50-50 division, me and you. So that's one thing that I think happens over time as you settle into it. But you can take that on right now. You can decide how important this conversation is. Do we really need to have a talk about it? Do we really need to figure it out? Sometimes, yes. I mean, there are times when we need to have those conversations, and it's really important that they're done in a healthy way so that everybody feels seen and heard. So it's not like they go away or you dismiss things or you become complacent. Absolutely not. But you start to think about the health of the relationship first, as opposed to figuring out what's yours and what's theirs. You also start to think about, like, what is ours together. The next thing is when things go wrong or there's an incident of hurt feelings or something like that, people who are in long time relationships, they know that happens, that you are going to hurt each other's feelings. You are going to have hard conversations. You are going to have some conflict to have to deal with. But because you're so invested, because you're both feet in, you know that they're just a part of the process. People in younger relationships tend to see those as red flag moments. And they ask the question, oh my God, what does this mean? Oh my God, we're not supposed to be together. Is this going to be what ends the relationship? Is this over? Oh my gosh, this is a huge deal. They are looking for red flags, which totally makes sense. All of your other relationships have failed. So you're watching out for those things because you want to protect yourself. When you've been in a long relationship, you're in it and nothing's a red flag anymore. Now you're just like, what do we need to deal with? What do we need to handle? So you can take that on now too. and just be all in. If this is a committed relationship, be all in. Don't look for red flags. Don't expect the ending. Don't think this is the end of the world. It's just something you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with together. And the third mindset that you see in long-time relationships is you settle into an acceptance of the other person. When we're in the beginning, we kind of have this vision of what our partner looks like, does, behaves like, all that kind of thing. We have this vision of the relationship. And so we are often asking the person to change, asking the person to be different, resisting the things about them that we want to be different. That causes a lot of unnecessary conflict to constantly be like, no, you need to fix this. You need to change that. I don't like this. When you've been with someone for a long time, you have enough years in the relationship that you know some things are not going to change. And you get to a place of acceptance about that where you just know that's how they are. This is how I am. And yes, we do want to work on the relationship together. We do want to meet each other as much as possible, but we also have to come from a place of acceptance and give each other as much space to be who we are. So you can, right now in a new relationship, you can start to shift your thinking that way too. Instead of demanding the other person to change to meet your ideal of what you want, think more in terms of that is how they are. This is who I love. I love this person as they are. Are there things inside our relationship that we need to work on together? Those are important. We can ask for that, but at the end of the day, I accept them for who they are and love them for who they are because that's who you picked, right? So 3 just mentalities, right? Mindsets that you can use that people who have been together for a long time already know. I've got circles of people who operate from these mindsets. Go all in. It's not a red flag, right? Accept them for who they are and don't demand that they meet your ideal, right? And figure out what really needs to be discussed and how important something is. And if it's going to create harm to the relationship, do you need to die on every hill? And I think that you will see that just those small changes can make a big difference about the amount of conflict you can have in your relationship. And that's what I want for you. Reduce conflict, healthy conflict. Okay, if you want to keep working on your connection and you want to strengthen that, because that's the foundational piece, is having a nice, strong connection. Conflict is going to happen, but we weather it when we have a relationship that's conflict proof because we've laid the groundwork. So you need to do daily connections all the time. Always be putting deposits in that bank. And if you need some fun, fresh, new ideas, you can grab Flirty Little Secrets and try on some new ways of connecting with your partner so that you keep building that foundation up. Okay, I'll see you next time.